Good morning, eighth grade math. It's Thursday, November the 5th, 2020. We're going to begin a new concept, a new lesson. I'm not going to read from the book. I'm not going to read from your textbook at all. I'm going to completely work on my graph paper here. I'm going to discuss what I'm doing. I'm going to let you emulate that. So what we're doing, we're graphing linear relationships using slope and y-intercept. So here are two coordinate planes. This is my y-axis. These are my x-axis. Now remember that a slope is positive or negative. It is the difference in rise over the difference in run. And the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. Now, the first equation, 2 over 3 x minus 1. So y equals negative 2 over 3, excuse me, not negative, y equals 2 over 3 x minus 1. So this is the slope. We're going to rise 2. We're going to run 3. And we're going to start this slope at 0 and negative 1. So here's my 0, and here's negative 1. That's the first part. That's the y-intercept. Now, I just count up from here, 1, 2, and then I count to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do this again. Up 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. So at every point along this line, along this slope, it'll be rising 2 and running 3. Now I'm going to connect my dots. This equation is now graphed here. So I'm going to put a dot here. Up 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. Up 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. Up 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. Up 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. So just using the slope and the y-intercept, I was able to graph this line. The next slope, y equals negative 5 over 2 plus 3. So this is a negative slope. So when I plot this, instead of counting up, I'm going to count down. I'm going to count down 5 spaces, 5 units. And I'm going to count to the right 2 spaces. So if it's a negative slope, you count down and you run to the right. If it's a positive slope, you count up and run to the right. So that part is always consistent. So the first mark I'm going to put is the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3. Now the slope is -5/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So here are my 3 points. Now I'll connect the dots. I know this slope is negative because it starts in the upper left-hand quadrant. It goes down to the lower right-hand quadrant. Now, all negative quantities are not terrible. Say if you were using a linear function to determine how much weight you need to lose, you want it to be negative. If it's positive, you're defeating your purpose, your goal. Okay? To continue. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to draw 2 more. Graphs. Now let me reiterate. This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. This is the origin. So, our next graph is going to be y equals 1/2x plus 1. So again, we're going to start at the y-axis, 0 and 1. Our slope is 1/2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Now I'm going to connect the dots. So there's my graph. When you guys do graphs in your book, this is what I want to see, a crisp line. I don't want to see a drunken line. I want to see very crisp, that you've used a straight edge of some sort. My next graph, y equals -3x plus 4. So this is a negative slope. I'm going to put my first dot at 0 and 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So since the slope is negative, I'm going to count down 3. You notice in this equation here, there's a 2 underneath the 1. If you don't see a number beneath that, it's always assumed to be a 1. Okay? So from here, I'm going to count down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Now let's take a moment to look at these graphs. Let's say that we were graphing two friends running. You notice how much steeper this graph is than this one? So this graph is a 3, and this is a 1/2. So it's much, much different. Okay. Now, we will read the book for this part. So open your textbook to page 110. Ken has a weekly goal of burning 2,400 calories by taking brisk walks. The equation y equals negative 300x plus 2,400 represents the number of calories y that Ken has left to burn after x hours of walking, which burns 300 calories per hour. So if you'll notice this case, you can see the scale here. So this would be 0, 300, 600, 900, 1200, etc. 2,400. That's where he's starting off. So takes him 8 hours. It's going to take him 8 hours to burn 300 calories. Okay? Let me go ahead and read this to you. I didn't really read it to you. Graph the equation y equals negative 300 plus 2,400. So write the slope as a fraction. Negative 300 over 1 equals negative 600 over 2, negative 900 over 3. Use the slope to locate a second point, 0 and 2,400. Then you have 3 and 1,500. 3 and 1,500. Draw a line through the 2 points. After how many hours of walking will Ken have 600 calories left to burn? After how many hours will he reach his weekly goal? So locate 600 calories on the y-axis. 600 calories. Read across and down to the x-axis. So read across and down. Ken will have 600 calories left to burn after 6 hours. Ken will reach his weekly goal when the number of calories left to burn is 0. Because every point on the y-axis has a net y value of 0, find the point where the line crosses the x-axis. Ken will reach his goal after 8 hours of brisk walking. Okay? So, we're going to do this part. What if Ken decides to modify his exercise plans from example 2 by slowing the speed at which he walks? The equation for the modified plan is negative 200x plus 2,400. So, we're going to start at 2,400. We're going to put a dot there. Now we're saying that every hour he wants to burn 200 calories. So 2,400. So this is going to be 600 calories, right? 600 calories. And 600 calories will be burned in 3 hours. Okay, so let's go down another 600 calories. 1,800 to 1,200, another 3 hours to the 6. Now we're going to go ahead and connect the dots. So here it would have taken him 8 hours. Here, it's going to take him 11 hours. 11 hours. And notice it's not quite as steep as this one. Okay, so 1 should be 200 calories. 2 should be 400 calories. So 2 should be right about here. Okay? How does the graph of the new equation compare with the graph in example 2? It is not as steep. Will Ken have to exercise more or less to meet his goal? Well, when you think about it, he slowed his pace down. So it's going to take him more hours. Let's say that you are planning on saving money. When you first begin your plan, you're saving $3,000 a month. After a few months, you decide that you're not going to save that much money per month. So now you cut it to $2,000 a month. So it's going to take you longer to reach your goal, but you're not going to be working as hard. Ken will be walking slower but his goal will take him longer. Now, suppose that Ken decides that instead of walking, he'll jog, and that jogging burns 600 calories per hour. How do you think this would change the graph? Well, let's find out. Starting at 2,400, here's my 600 calories. Okay, here's my 600 calories. There you go. His goal will be achieved much more quickly, much faster. While jogging. Okay. So we'll do these problems here. So this will be in your textbook. Number 1 is a slope of 1/2. The y-intercept is going to be -3. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video now. Today's code word, if not now. If not now.